Misery is not a fruit of the Spirit, but love is. Hello and welcome to Future Husband Diaries. My name is Maya Spanda and I hope that you've been enjoying the content that we've been putting out. And for the women who've been journaling with us, who've been praying with us, who've been healing with us, welcome home. And I hope that you've been praying and journaling wherever you are. I know we might be talking about it, but it's good, to vent out on a piece of paper and just write it out, whatever it is that is making you feel miserable wherever you are, so that maybe you can feel better. What I do is I like to pray about it, and I like to journal about it. I have these journals all about in my house. I have like a few of them. I journal this in this one, I journal in this one. I'm not that kind of person who journals like in one book. I journal everywhere, even in my notes, on my phone, wherever I am. If I have an idea or if I have something, I just write it down. It makes it easier for me whenever I've forgotten about it to write about it. So if you really want to be serious about this healing, and journal about it. So I hope that you've been having a great time wherever you are, and welcome. Our topic today is one that, I really had to stop. I was unplaiting my hair. Yes, I am unplaiting my hair. I do not have any braids at the back there. So I just had to come and talk about this, and then I'll go back and redo my hair. What I really wanted us to talk about is, am I expected to enjoy in marriage? Get me right. Don't get me wrong. Maybe I am coming up with new things and trying to make women. No. I'm not in that way. I really want to know, am I expected to enjoy in marriage? Because most of the times we have looked into endurance and looked into persecution. Sometimes I start to wonder, how do we differentiate the two? So that's why we're here. Let's just dive right into the topic. So where does the idea of endurance come from? Especially in the Christian setup, most of the times we talk about how endurance is a woman should endure in marriage and what, because God hates divorce. I really like that verse because it says God hates divorce. So as a way to mitigate, as a way to make sure that you do not get any divorce, you should really make it in such a way that the person that I'm going to be in a relationship with, I'm not saying things are not going to be hard. Things might be hard. I'm not saying I might not break up with the person. I might break up with the person. But there are some things that I can do right now. When I see red flags coming, dive right, dive left, swing a little bit so that I do not intentionally put myself in a situation where by the end of the day, I'll be miserable. This pastor was talking about it. I was like, when you're single, you really have to be very careful about making sure that God really answered your prayers, because at the end of the day, you will be the prayer request. So I really wanted to mitigate that. And then when I was looking at the marriages that I usually see, especially in Christian setup, most of the times the women are usually miserable in their marriages. So it made me wonder, they seem to be they are not really enjoying their married life. They are enduring. Yes, they're not enjoying their married life. They are enduring their married life. And I didn't want to endure. I know my kind of character. I'm that person. Whenever I'm in a stressful situation, I'm in an anxiety-stricken situation, I will not thrive in there. And why are these women enduring? It made me ask myself, why are they enduring? Can they just leave? And then no, they can't leave. God hates divorce. Then I was like, but really, is that how the Bible really talks about it? So now, the way that our culture has made it into when it comes to marriage, if you ask most of the Christian women at churches, marriage is hard. Isn't marriage supposed to be beautiful? Everyone is always saying marriage is hard. So that mentality has made it in such a way that we are always thinking that marriage is hard. If marriage is hard, if I encounter any hard things in my life, I'm just going to enjoy, because that's what marriage is. Marriage is hard. And then I was like, yes, marriage is hard. It needs a lot of work and all of those things. But when are we supposed to differentiate between abuse and the parts being just hard? And then other people have now made it in such a way that they persecute you or they do other things in a marriage, so that you find the women, they're not looking happy at all. So I do not want to endure marriage. I want to enjoy marriage. So let me vent out what I have to say, and then you can tell me what you think. So I think suffering, people have made suffering to be some sort of, like, as if to say suffering is biblical, while suffering is not. The only time in the Bible we are expected to endure is to endure when it comes to persecution. We are supposed to endure when it comes to persecution. We're supposed to endure when it comes to this. When people are attacking our faith, when people are attacking what we stand for as Christians, like I stand for Christ, and therefore I'm supposed to endure all of that, because I know at the end of the day that Christ will come and he will win. Like, this battle has already been won, right? So I can endure that because I'm told that the sufferings will come, and I'm supposed to endure because at the end of the day, God is going to win this battle. But then when it comes to marriage, I feel like marriage is somehow different, because this is a person that I'm taking into my life to live a life, sort of like as a spectator to my life. I'm bringing this person into my life. Therefore, why am I enduring the things that this person is doing that are not right? So what is it that has damaged a lot of people? We have made it in such a way that we say love is equal to suffering. Love is not equal to suffering. Love is beautiful, because when you're looking at this, the biblical way of looking at it is saying love, God is love, and God doesn't make us suffer. I know a lot of people are saying, yeah, God of the Old Testament. No. Look into that. God actually did not like his people to suffer. God made ways for people not to actually suffer. God made ways for them to actually live a better life, but people chose their own ways, right? But so when it comes to love, the way it's supposed to be, it says love is patient, love is kind. The Bible has verses that are so beautiful when it comes to love. Like, it's beautiful, it's kind, with all of those things. So why are people now taking life and twisting it in such a way that to say that this is suffering? Is supposed to suffer in this love for you to actually get that little bit of love. It made me really look into it. And then I found that when it comes to our brains, most of the times we have this mentality that we have, where depending on the trauma that we had or on the things that we had as when we were growing up, we encounter ways where we say, like, we were suffering, or our parents were suffering, or we saw some kind of suffering, and then our brain puts that into a pattern and tells us, because this is the pattern that is supposed to be, so our love should also is expected to go in that certain way. But I'm here to tell you that, number one, love does not equal suffering. The Bible says love is kind, love is patient, love is beautiful, and the greatest of all of this is love. These verses, they all are so beautiful, and we shouldn't intentionally go into spaces where we actually suffer and expecting them, like, okay, so this is where I'm loved, no. We are not supposed to. There are some things that you can endure, but there are some things that you're not supposed to endure. For example, number one, abuse. You're not supposed to endure abuse, because if someone is abusing you, that is not how biblically, if you're to look at it, how Christ wanted his people to be like. You cannot endure when it comes to abuse. Most of the times whenever we're talking about abuse, a lot of people usually just look at the physical kind of abuse. But I found that more relationships, we endure a lot of emotional abuse. Lord, someone is abusing you, someone is doing all of those things, and we tend to enjoy, and we're like, oh, what else am I supposed to do? Love is supposed to be like this. No, love is not supposed to be like that. This person is taking advantage of you. Therefore, look for ways for you to get out of that situation. I'm not saying just leave that person. No, situations are different. I'm not a psychologist. I cannot tell you what to do with your life. You are your own custodian of your own life. But there are some things where in an abusive relationship, especially in an emotionally abusive relationship, when that person is doing that to you, that is not love. That is not love. That person is doing all of those things just to manipulate you, is doing all of those things, taking advantage of you. You are not supposed to, to endure all of that. And this is so painful, especially when it comes to Christian setup. Like in the modern dating, what people, leave. People leave. But in Christian setups, because I made a vow to this person, it becomes really hard for me to actually leave this person. Therefore, I will advise for when you are dating now, there are some red flags that you'll be seeing. If this person is already controlling enough in a relationship, that person is not going to change and not be controlling when you guys are married. This person will actually be even more controlling when you are now in marriage. So there are some things that you really need to cut from your life. I have encountered this before where I tell myself suffering is love, and I've actually suffered in some relationships, and I tell myself that's how love is supposed to be. And I really needed to relearn all of those things. I really needed to unlearn those sort of things so that I can tell myself that what this person is doing, this is not love. The fact that they're doing this to me shows me exactly that this person does not love me. I know these patterns, I've seen them before. This person has done this to me. Actually, it's sort of like I had to move myself, literally push myself out of that relationship. It wasn't something that I had to do immediately, like my mind knew how to do. No, it was something that I had to tell myself, I am doing this, I am moving myself out of the situation. And I pushed myself out of that situation. It was really hard, but I actually had to do it, because if I didn't do it, no one else was going to do it for me. Life was that hard. And my brain was telling me some other things. And you know how the Bible is always telling, like, the heart is deceitful above all things. The heart really is deceitful. Because my heart was telling me at that time, like, you love this person. Why are you leaving this person? This person has been good to us. And my brain actually had to come in and be like, no, this person doesn't really love us. This person is manipulating us. We have to move out of the situation, because if I find myself tied to this person in a marriage vow, in a marriage contract, I might not have the strength to actually move out of it. So what am I saying? When you are still dating, one thing that you have to learn is love does not equal suffering. The fact that you are suffering, even if it's just a little bit when you are now dating, doesn't mean that it will get better when you get to marriage. It will actually be amplified. What is it that you need to do? If you find that this person has characteristics that make you suffer, talk about it, communicate with that person. And if that person is not willing to change, you have to push yourself out of that relationship so that you do not have to suffer at the end of the day, because endurance is not biblical. And the other thing that we tell ourselves, who say love should actually cost me. And those are one of the things that makes single people be like, I'm okay as a single person. I've met this person who was telling me, like, I'd rather be single. I will not get into marriage because all the people that I see in marriage, they have caused their individuality, whoever they are. They're not the same person that they used to be. And at the end of the day, they don't seem to be happy in all of that. And I was like, okay. And I was looking into it, and most of them don't look happy. So it makes it harder, especially for single people, to actually want to get into marriage, because we see that there's people are enjoying and it's really been hard for them. Therefore, we do not want to put ourselves in such a situation. So look into how you can mitigate. Look into how you can find that best friend, that person for you. At the end of the day, you're not miserable in marriage. And especially in our Black African culture, it has been one of those traditions that has been said, like, look, our mothers endured. What is so special about you that you say you do not want to endure in marriage? I am not going to move from a situation where I am happy into a situation where I am seeing that I will be unhappy and put myself there, all for society to actually like me. I will not do that. What I will do is I will move from my happy single season into a happy married life, not for other people, but when I see that it will actually make me happier. If it's actually going to diminish my happiness, why am I going to move from this happy season that I'm in? The problem is we want to be accepted into society. Because we want to be accepted into society, we compromise on the things that we actually want, and we put ourselves in these situations where we actually have to endure. We put ourselves in situations where it will be miserable, but we do not mind that we'll be miserable as long as the society accepts us. I know of a girl who, when she was getting married, like, from that statement, I knew she wasn't doing it for the right reasons. And when things got hard and tough, she couldn't tell people because of the statements that she used to say when she was getting into the season of marriage. She used to say, like, look at you, you're still single. Don't worry, it will come to you. It will happen for you. Look, it happened for me. I'm moving into this. And she knew that this person wasn't for her. She knew that this person would actually make her to be even more miserable. But she got into it because she wanted society to accept her. She wanted society to like her. And she moved herself from this situation to that situation. And things got really, really hard. And she left her marriage but couldn't divorce the person because she didn't want how people would look at her. So we have internalized suffering, especially for women. We have internalized suffering, and we tell ourselves suffering is part of marriage life. And if you are not enduring, what are you doing? You should endure. And those are one of the things that has broken single people. Others will be like, okay, I'm ready to endure. Come what may, I'm ready to endure. Others will be like, I'm not going to endure, so therefore I'm not going to get married. At the end of the day, it distorts how biblical or how God intended marriage life to be. I believe that God is saying love is beautiful, love is kind, and all of those things. Therefore, marriage should not be about endurance. Marriage should be about love. Marriage should be a space where people grow, there's growth, people get more out of life and become even better versions of themselves. And if I will not find that person who will make me to grow and become better version of myself, I'd rather stay single and not enjoy like all these other people have enjoyed. So one thing we have to remember is that misery is not a fruit of the spirit, but love is. So love, not misery. Look more into it and don't enjoy all because you want society to accept you. So that's all that I had for you today. I know it wasn't a lot, like sort of like was a rant and something. Like I just had to come here and say this. It really pains me how people are enduring, all because how will society feel? What will the church say? all of those things. And we enjoy in relationships, even in dating, people doing things that are not acceptable, the priorities that they have, they're diminishing who we are, but we enjoy so that we can be good social girls that can be accepted into society. No, we shouldn't do that. So that's all that I had for you today. Like, subscribe, join the conversation on Instagram, and we all grow together. Bye.